So we're a day removed from the NBA draft, and to be honest, I never thought I'd be in the position of making this video strictly because we already knew the Lakers didn't really have any draft picks for the foreseeable future. And truth be told, this video, I wouldn't have seen it coming a mile away. But here we are, the Lakers did end up making a move to get a draft pick, and they were able to make a undrafted signee right after the draft as well. So we are here to basically talk about the pick we got and the signing we got in the undrafted free agent. And as always, if you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like the video if you find yourself liking the video at the end. If you're not new, you already know you're part of the gang. Go ahead and hit that notification bell, gangy, so we can be informed when I upload and you know when I have all my latest and greatest videos uploaded onto YouTube. But let's talk about this boy Max Christie that the Lakers ended up drafting out of Michigan State. So Max Christie, he was only a freshman at Michigan State. He's a 6'6" guard. He's kind of small, but again, he was a freshman, so he does have time to grow into that grown man body, so to speak. Kind of like the same thing we saw with Kyle Kuzma, where he put on some weight. Lonzo Ball put on a good amount of size since he's coming to the league, and how a bunch of other players do that come out of college that go one and done. It takes them a few years to actually develop that grown man body. So with him being 190 right now, I'm not too surprised or too moved by that, because of the fact that I know he's probably going to put on at least 10 to 15 pounds, maybe even 20 pounds, being that he's a 6'6" guard, which is more of a scoring guard, and he's gonna have to be crafty and bang more bodies when it comes to getting his buckets at the rim. Now, in the 35 games he played for Michigan State this year, he started in all 35. He played about 30 minutes per game, which is very good when you're looking for a player that's young. He averaged 9 points per game while averaging 3.5 true rebounds per game and 1.5 assists per game. He shot 38.2% from the field, and from three he shot 31.7% while shooting 82.4% from the free throw line. Now, his shooting numbers aren't anything to write home about, and we did pick him in the second round, so it kind of makes sense that he is a guy that's going to have to develop a little bit more than the guys that you would pick in the first round, especially in the early first round. Personally, I like his game when it comes to his length and size, and he has a pretty good touch from deep when it comes to shooting. I watched this pre-draft workout with the Lakers, and it was pretty nice to watch a guy that shoot pretty well. His field goal percentage didn't seem to translate as well as it did watching him actually shoot. So I could see what the Lakers were looking at when they thought about drafting this guy. And not to mention, a lot of notable players and Hall of Famers have been picked at that number 35 pick. To name a few, we have Draymond Green, DeAndre Jordan, Glenn Davis, PJ Tucker, and Carlos Boozer. And if you're a real hoop head, the GOAT Brian Scalabrine was a number 35 pick. And not to mention, a two-time MVP was also picked in the second round in Nikola Jokic. So Laker Nation, I think this is one of those things we're gonna have to put our faith in the Lakers, but I will say Max Christie's ceiling is so tantalizing and it's very attractive when it comes to being a Laker fan and the guys that is gonna be around him. He's gonna have LeBron around him, and he's gonna have AD around him, which are two guys that can help him with regards to both scoring and facilitating for his team. Now, the other player that we signed that was an undrafted player that I was talking about before is Scotty Pippen Jr., 6'1" guard out of Vanderbilt. He has some pretty good size to him with 170. Of course, like I said before, and like any other player coming into the league, more size is going to be added to them, but he wasn't a one and done guy in this case. He stayed at Vanderbilt for 3 years. All 3 years, he actually played a good amount of minutes. He averaged around 30 minutes per game in all 3 years, and he's been a pretty good player, improving each year since he gets to college. His freshman year, he only averaged 12 points, and then his sophomore year, that jumped up to 20 points. Now, his freshman year, he played 32 games, whereas his sophomore year, he played 22. His second year, he only played 22 games, which he did start in every game, and the reason that is because he got injured. So that could be the reason why his points per game are a tad bit higher his sophomore year than his junior year, where it was 20.4, which it really didn't see a drop. It just saw a drop in the 10th place. So really and truly, it wasn't really a big deal, because his third year, he played 36 games. So he proved to us and anyone else that had questions with him regarding coming off his injury whether he was good enough. And this dude balled out both years just to stamp and show that he truly belonged. Now, Scotty Pippen Jr. was an SEC All-Freshman, and he won All-SEC twice in his 3-year career at Vanderbilt. In his career at Vanderbilt, he averaged 17.5 points per game, 3 rebounds, and 4.3 assists, and that was on 41% shooting, 34 from 3, and 76 from the free throw line. Now, Scotty is a guy that, again, he's gonna have to develop a little bit more, and honestly, I think he has pretty good potential. He has I won't say as high as the ceiling as Max Christie, but I do think he could be a type of guard like a Jalen Brunson, or a player that can really facilitate if he learns how to pass the ball a tad bit better, because 4 assists at a 6'1" guard, that's not really going to cut it in the league. So he's going to have to do some work on the development front with regards to being a pro, but I do have high hopes myself for Scotty Pippen Jr. and Max Christie. So far, what the Lakers have done in the offseason, I like. It looks like they're actually making moves, and that's something I haven't seen as a Laker fan since I was born. And being a Laker fan, we've always had the star talent. When I was born, we had Shaq and Kobe. Even after Shaq left, we still had Kobe. And then after that, of course, we had some pitiful years with the Robert Sacre, that era and stuff like that. But even after that, we still got LeBron. So we're not quite used to the Lakers having to develop people and or rebuild a squad. So this is one of those proven things for Rob Pelinka and the Laker organization for me. And I think for the whole NBA world, because we're not used to seeing the Lakers having to actually make moves to make their team better. They're used to having superstars come to them, at least from my perspective. And with that being said, so far I like what the Lakers are doing, and I'm hoping they get us in the position, which at this point I believe they will, but I hope they get us to the position to at least have a pretty successful year and at least make it to the second and third round in the playoffs. It's gonna be a steep hill to climb, like I've said a while ago, and I will continue to say, because it is a very steep hill to climb, but it is a hill that can be climbed nonetheless. And if you got a healthy LeBron and a healthy AD, anything is possible. But in the comments below, tell me what you guys think. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you're new and you found yourself liking this video to this point, go ahead and hit a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for your boy. And if you're not new and you ain't hit that notification bell or the thumbs up, go ahead and do that, gangy, because you already know what it is. It's your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories on the tube, and I'm out. Peace.